Today's top picks from Reuters Breaking Views. European IPOs may need big backers to turn the corner, say our commentators. Refiner Petroplus's credit crunch heralds wider pains, and how the new Islamist democracies will be open for business. With me now is Reuters Breaking Views assistant editor Robert Cole. Robert, let's start off with these European IPOs. The title may need big backers to turn the corner, but I do like the first line. Cornerstone investors could become a necessary evil for European IPOs in 2012.
Yeah, we don't like cornerstone investors really, or indeed nothing wrong with them in principle as investors, but the principle of cornerstone investors, because it seems to give them preferential treatment. And I think one of the, if you like, cornerstones of shareholder democracy or shareholder the way shareholding structures work is that shareholders are treated equally, and cornerstones tend to get in ahead. They may have a preferential price. They certainly may have a preferential allocation of stock. May even get closer to the management at an earlier stage as well, which doesn't level the playing field at all. But if the IPOs are going to get away in 2012, it seems that perhaps lining up some big guns to help it through is the only way that that's going to happen. And
you point out a couple of examples, don't you? You talk about Glencore getting away, and the likes of Osram and the Spanish lottery not getting away. Absolutely. For those reasons. Absolutely, so it could become a trend.
Yeah, and you can't help feeling also with the Glencore example. Yes, they sewed up some cornerstone investors, and that might have led to the issue being mispriced in the early stages. And I think that, fair to say that a lot has changed in the immediate aftermath of the flotation, but the shares did fall quite a long way in the aftermath. So one wonders whether they really do help in the long run. But it looks like they're here to stay, or at least here to be a feature of IPOs in 2012.
Okay, we'll keep our eyes on that one. Now, refiners' credit crunch augurs wider pains. We're talking about Petroplus here.
Yeah, Petroplus, nasty story for Petroplus. It seems to have lost the confidence or some of the confidence of its banks, who are or lenders who are not extending it the credit it needs to buy the oil that it wants to refine. And that's very sad for this company. But there is Kevin Allison's piece here does point to what is quite a significant overcapacity in the European market. And we're sort of suggesting that, well, at first blush, although it's sad for Petroplus and its owners and employees, if it disappeared, perhaps some of that that capacity squeeze would be taken out of the market, and that would be a good thing for the rest of the market. But of course, just because even if it came to the fact that the company disappeared altogether, it wouldn't necessarily mean that the plants disappeared. They could be sold or kept open under another guise. And actually, even though this is one of the biggest of Europe's refiners, its capacity is not huge, and more structural reform or change is required in the oil refining market to put it on a stable footing. So problems there, I think, that go beyond this company.
Okay, our final story then. New Islamist democracies will be open for business, and I've written down not exactly in the way that the West might want to shape them.
No, I think, this is one of our predictions pieces, one of the sort of agenda setting pieces that we're putting out with a view to sketching out the landscape for 2012. And, clearly, the whole architecture and landscape of the Middle Eastern and Mediterranean region has changed. Investors had got sort of quite used to these sort of despotic systems. At least it gave you some certainty, and there's a much more volatility, and there is a resurgence of or a surgence of Islamism forces coming through in the democracy, which might be thought would be a bad thing, but we think that one has relatively little to fear from these Islamist democratic forces.
So how do you measure success then? Education, wealth, and demographics. Is that the key to it?
Well, I think it's not. Those aren't a measure of success. Those things have to be in order, if you like. They have to be suitably wealthy. They have to generate some wealth from their economy. They have to be well educated to be able to generate that wealth. And the demographics are important as well. And if all those things are adequately managed by the democracies, whatever their religious sort of background, we think that it could turn out quite well. And because these countries need quite a lot of investment as well, it's in their own best interests not to be too scary, if you like.
OK, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for that. My thanks to Robert Cole. Join us for more breaking views at the same time on Friday. I'm Nigel Stevenson. This is Reuters.
It's got a hyphen as well, an apostrophe.
Well, we can change it now because the whole was that in the graphic that went up at the start, or
yeah, I'm just wondering whether that's.
Yeah, the European IPOs.
It's IPOs.
That's gone. That disappears. So that should disappear. But the graphics that you've got. Yeah, can you just bring them up to check we're okay?
All right.
IPOs need big backers. Robert, you're saying.
Well, I wouldn't put it.
No, that one. Then that's the fine. That one's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fine. How far do you want me to read to? Okay. Today's top picks from Reuters breaking views. European IPOs. I can hear you thumping it. Today's top picks from Reuters breaking views. European IPOs may need big backers to turn the corner, say our commentators. Refiner Petroplus's credit crunch heralds wider pains, and how the new Islamist democracies will be open for business. Well, with me now is Reuters breaking views assistant editor Robert Cole.